Hi folks, welcome to Once Driven Forever Smitten. This video is all about Le Cav, the black Cavalier GLS 2 litre saloon I picked up from France at the end of 2022. 1 month later, my blue Cavalier CD, nicknamed Fab because the registration saying FAB, got written off on the M40. So as it turned out, it was handy that I'd picked this up because I was able to reshell everything from Fab into Le Cav. This video details a lot of the work that was done to bring the car up to the point where it is now. It's all road legal. Most of the stuff off Fab got transferred into this, but there was also some other work that I've done. I've converted it over pretty much to pre-facelift spec, and there are some other things I need to do. And there's some things that were already on the channel. I think I did the spring seats and stuff, but in this video I'm like putting the wipers underneath the headlights, and I'm sorting out various other bits and pieces on the car. So there is stuff still to do, mainly the roof lining, which is horrible. I'm going to strip the outer covering off that and I'm going to flock it. I've got a kit on the way for that. So this video details all that stuff, and then I've got another video coming up on the car where I'll run it down to England to do 1,000 miles in 24 hours going to a wedding, one of those road trip videos that I used to do. So let's get on with it. I've done so much with this car and shot so much footage on it over a long period of months that I've just decided to combine it all in this video. But I'll go over some of the stuff I've had done to the car. I've had the bonnet painted, and I've also had the back quarters painted on it. It's wearing a GSI rear bumper at the moment because it's the right colour and it was lying about. I do want to get pre-facelift bumpers on it. I've got the one off Fab, my old blue Cavalier that got written off. And get rid of this facelift one here. Fitted the headlight wipers to it, and then I reversed into it with the Omega. So I've got a new front panel off that green Cavalier in the scrapyard to refit onto it. But it was Fab was used to reshell this. This car is Fab. It's all the suspension, engine, loads of stuff went into it. It's got Eibach springs, Bilstein shocks. It did have 288mm brakes on it, but they got taken off and replaced with 256s because it's a much better brake pedal. It's currently sitting on Astra Sport steel wheels with Toyo Proxys tyres. They're brand new on there. And I've just given it a good polish because it was covered in red overspray, and obviously with it sitting for 15 years. I've got a boot spoiler to go on it. And on the inside, the interior was very mouldy, so it's got Cavalier CD rear seats in it, and in the front it's got Astra convertible front seats, which were lying about. I figured they were pretty funky, but they're clean as well. We've got the 3-spoke non-airbag steering wheel, which came out of Fab. It does need the roof lining fixing, or replacing rather. What I'm going to do is I'm going to strip all the covering off this roof lining and the sunroof cover and flock it. But it drives very similarly to how Fab did, as you would expect. It's got the same long ratio F16 gearbox in it. Under the bonnet we have got the C20XE coil pack variant, which was in Fab for many years, and directly before it got written off this had the head gasket done and I put all new valves in it, so it's going very nicely. It's got the same F16 gearbox as it had before, which is a very wide ratio one, although that does blunt the acceleration somewhat. It does make it exceptional on the motorway. It's sitting at like sort of 4 grand at well over 100 mile an hour. Not that I ever do that. And it's also got the cruise control wired into it, which was also retrofitted into Fab. So there you go. We'll crack on with the video now, and you'll see various stages in the process of transforming this car from something that had been sitting about for 15 years and had gone really mouldy into having how it sits today. There's still more to do on it, you know. I've got the bumpers to sort out, got the headlight, front panel, got the headlight wiper back in there again, spoiler on the boot. But it's been good. I'm very glad that I was able to go and get it from France, as it turned out, with the other one getting smashed. I'm going to now change the heater blower motor resistor. Had to get this from China, I think, because it took like 2 weeks for them to come. But it is the correct thing. The one on the car sort of started working again, but we'll replace it for the correct item. See there, it just push fits onto the 2 pins on the blower motor, and then a plug will connect onto there, and then we should have 4 stages. There we go, stage 2. Three, 2, 1. Hey, what? Alright, now got the plastic cover all in place. It tucks up underneath the seal for the windscreen. It's important, this, because it stops water running down the heater blower motor into the car, which I forgot about, and I now have wet carpets, so I need to go and dry that out. Right, here are wheel arch liners for the black Cavalier, which are from Fab, because I can't find the ones that came with this. But in the meantime, I've got some Lanogard here in a sprayer bottle, and I'm going to completely cover my repainted eyeback springs and struts. You can see there's already rust coming through them when I'm just sitting about. Brake pipes, ferrules. I've already Gravitexed in here. We'll just give it an extra coating of this stuff as well, in the hope that it fends off the horrible wet silt that's on the roads. Because they're just all going to go rusty again. You just can't keep them. I'll put in the anti-roll bar in the chassis rail and everything now. And then hopefully during winter the springs aren't going to go all rusty again. Well, we shall just have to see. Right, put the arch liners on now because I have some new clips as well. Right, this is my collection of plastic rivets I got in a big huge box. They're all different shapes and sizes. Rather than buying the Vauxhall ones in a tiny quantity, I just thought I'll buy a lifetime supply. There's a lot of kind of weird sizes in there, but that's the inner arch liner on now. I need to go and get a couple of the plastic nuts, but it's all riveted in. Obviously this one's off Fab, but it took the impact. I don't know whether the ones are off this, but it'll do the now. It's all shiny and Lanogarded, so, well, I wouldn't say shiny, but you know, it's all coated in Lanogard on those springs, so hopefully when I go rusty, I'm going to drop it down now and start having a look at some other bit. Right, now back on the steering column. Managed to remove the shear bolt, which snapped there off that side, which is what's supposed to happen with it. There's another 2 in there, a 13 down there and 1 at the back, but if you look under there, I'm currently removing the bolt that the column slides into the rack, which is quite tight. I don't think I can take this pinch bolt right or not, but I will. Right, next bolt to remove. This one's easy enough, and once that's out, the column will start to drop down a bit. Right, third one is down in here. So once I take this one out, with a bit of persuading, the whole column should pull out. Yeah. adjuster steering column. Come out. Ah, okay. Redundant airbag gubbins. Right, there we go. Just need to splay the end a tiny bit. Oh dear, I think that might be broken, but I don't care. One adjustable steering column, another part of fab. You move out the way, Mr. Speedo Cable. I had a complication. The bolt that goes in through and connects in there seemed to pick up. Cross-threaded, and then I did try another bolt on it, but it wouldn't go back in, so I've just been running a little tap through there now, and I've just been able to get onto that by hammering like a 5mm socket over the end of the tap and using this little tiny 1/4" ratchet, but it seems to have run right the way through easily enough, so hopefully that'll have cleaned the threads up and we can get a fresh bolt in there. What a pain. Well, I've now wired in my ignition switch. I did have a look at attempting to shave the existing one down with a die grinder to get it to fit, but it doesn't work as well. It's not nice, so just, you know, joined the wire connections here. I've got a power takeoff here for cruise control. What is that? What is that? Oh, I think that's for the back of the horn. Is that for the horn? No, it's just an earth. Okay. Anyway, yeah, cruise control wires are all down here. My green is going to my brake light switch, white is speed signal, blue is earth, and the other ones go to the stock, which I have here, which has got 4 wires on it, and I believe that one of these actually requires power. Yes, it does. That requires power there. So that's quite easy to go and sort that out. Slow progress tonight, but it is what it is. Just finishing up for what I'm doing tonight, and I've got the cruise control all wired in. I need to get the little round terminal for the wire that goes to the back of the horn, because that's broken off. But I had a bit of bother there because I couldn't get the indicators. I'm still not getting the full beam light coming on. This is due to a bad connection on fuse 7. I've got bad connections on the fuses because they are so heavily corroded. I've taken a few of them out, but some of them you can see, I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see they're corroded away to almost nothing. So I've replaced a lot of them, but they've got this kind of white powder on them, which is preventing the fuses from getting a good connection. So I'm probably going to have to try and get something to clean out those terminals in the fuse box, because that's not going to be too happy otherwise. I don't want to be driving down the road with my full beams on and not knowing. So you can see one of the issues I've got going here. I've wiggled the fuse box and taken the fuses out, cleaned them with a bit of WD-40. It's all I've got at the moment. I've got the blue light on there. Now you can see that bulb is not illuminating. But if I wiggle that, there you go, if I wiggle that fuse in the fuse box, then that comes on. So I've got a bit of work to do with this fuse box. I'll have to get some contact cleaner, spray it in there and go and work the fuses in and out loads to go and clean the contacts up. I'd not noticed that before, so there you go, we've now lost, what one is it to get that blue light to come on? I've now lost the full beam indicator on the dash again, even though I've now got the lights working. Haha. But when when that one goes on, that one goes out. Ignore those jump leads. Oh, interesting. Crappy electrical connections. Who'd have thought, with it having sat for 15, 16 years even, that it would start doing that. Now, having just a wee bit of glitching with the lights on Le Cave because we've got corrosion in the fuse box with it sitting for so long. So what I've been doing is popping the odd fuse out of it and giving it a clean up with a little bit of sandpaper, because it keeps putting the headlights out, or the side lights out periodically. So I'm giving every fuse a good clean up. Moving around here now, we have got a headlight again, and I am fitting these uprated bulbs because the ones on it are a disgrace, and we need to line them up as well because they're not set properly at the moment. To go and check the fuse on this one because it is not working. The headlight adjuster keeps having a little go itself. That is headlights on both sides. Right, okay. Right, that's fine. I'm going to tidy up again. That'll do. Progress. Hopefully it's going to behave. Right, so I've had to do a bit of ongoing maintenance on Le Cave, as you would expect. It shredded the end of the speedo cable, so I've just fitted a new one, but the end of the sender is broken, got the old cable broken off inside it. Now this is the new sender I am going to fit, which is out Fab's gearbox. I'm having to use the old GoPro because that thing says it's got low battery even though it's at 50%. So what I'm doing at the moment is, if you can see down there, I am removing the old speedo cable sensor, which is kind of jammed in place because it's been in there for years. I have also been rigging up the cruise control. I've fitted a better length of cable for it and hooked it onto the side of the throttle body there, so that should now work. But yeah, I'm going to go and get a better lever to get that out of there so I can go and fit that there. Yeah, so this is the new speedo cable sensor out Fab's gearbox. I'm going to fit. That's the old one. Felt a bits in the way out. It's got an old bit of mangled cable jammed inside it. That's the old cable there. You can see here there are various lengths of cruise control cable. There's a longer one and there's a shorter one. I'm using a shorter one on Le Cave at the moment, so I'm just going to go and pop this into the gearbox. It just goes in with 10mm and then the speedo cable screws in the top. Well, the wiring glitch fest continues. You could probably hear that. Central locking's been right weird. Well, you could hear the central locking motor making all sorts of funny noises there, so fired a bit of WD-40 into it. And that's it done again, is it? Getting better though. Right, next issue I've got. Electric windows have stopped working, but when I plug the voltmeter into the brown wire, which is the earth, and the red wire, which is the power permanent to the door, 1.6 volts. That should be 12, 13 volts sitting there. Okay. So that means I've probably got a broken wire going somewhere into this door, I guess. Could be a broken wire, or could it be a bad connection in the fuse box again? Because we've definitely got no leaky windows. They're not going to work. Okay. I guess what I can try for the first moment is we'll just go and run a 12 volt direct to that wire and see if the electric windows work. Haha. So I'm now down here in the footwell, and I thought I would just see what power this red wire's getting, and when I test that, we get 1.6 volts. Now, if I go to the ignition switch, I get 12 volts, so that's obviously not the issue. It's this wire. Now, if I go to continuity test, and see if this wire is, I don't know if this is the same wire, which it is. So this red wire has an issue coming in from somewhere. So this, I suspect that this is the wire that runs into the door here. So clearly got a power issue with this somewhere further along the line. So I'll have to give it an alternative power source to the door at the moment, but that red wire there definitely looks like it's at fault. Whether it's got a break in it somewhere, I do not know. Right, I've just spliced into another red 12 volt permanent, which I know has got that. I've just plugged the window back in. Oh! Oh, well, that's good then. Yeah, broken wire, so I guess I will just put, yeah, I mean, God knows how that thing's broken. I'll just go and splice it into that other red there. It's a big thick wire. Anyway, something else solved here. I wonder if the passenger side works. The passenger side is going down very slowly. I think I've traced my dodgy wire to the back of the fuse box, because that's electric window fuse one there, there's a second one there, and if I test across those terminals, they all get 12 volts apart from this wire here. So let's just see if it's connected to this one over here. It is indeed. So all we need to do now is basically separate this wire here and get a new 12 volt pickup into it. Right, all I've done to get my power is I have just jumped over onto this cable. That's for one side of the electric windows, and that one's for the other side, so that's just now connected in there. So still going through a fuse and everything like that. I think that's pretty much redundant now, but no matter, we've got electric windows and we've got central locking at the moment as well, so tiny bit of progress. Last thing I'm going to do tonight, this crash bar's mangled in the back of this, see that? So the bumper falls off. As you can see, it's no longer connected. It's previously been hooked in with a bungee. Chuck that in the boot, might come in handy for something. But I'm going to stick the bumper on off fab. Instead. This boot is minging in here. It got really hot as well when I welded those spring seats up. Thankfully everything's soaking wet, so it couldn't have gone on fire. Making some progress. Still got the big washer bottle to install, which is designed to take the wash wipe, which I've got sitting there somewhere. Don't know if I'd get round to that straight away before it went on the road. Maybe. The wiring's there for it. I've got the door card to fit. Most of the little connectors broke off the back of it when I took it off, so that needs sorted. Bits of interior to strip. I mean, the main thing now is going to be sorting out the filler, which is down in the door there, because that's going to take a fair amount of sanding down, which will be super boring. And then change out the lights and the tail panel for the early one. Need to get some pre-facelift headlights for somewhere for it. Right, for the inside of Le Cave, we've got this sound deadening stuff, because the original stuff is just too minging and disgusting, so I'm going to go and pull this stuff out and see how it fits in. I've got thicker stuff on the way in the post as well, but you can double this stuff up and that, so we'll see how it goes in, see how it sticks to the floor and stuff. Right, this mute mat stuff seems really good. I've already put a piece down there, and I've got another piece cut to size, and it's really stretchy and flexible, so it goes in exactly how you want it to, and it fills up all the gaps and everything. So we'll double layer this. Oh yeah, come on. Double layer it. What it does, just start off and make sure it's all stuck down on top of the first sheet, underneath the wires and everything. It's stuck down into there, and then but there's a couple of pegs in there that I don't need anymore, so I'm going to go and cut them off. If you're doing an airbag delete and you want the horn to work, what you need to do is get one of these little wires off a non-airbag card, which connects with the bullet terminal onto the back of there, and then as we go under here, this is the airbag wiring we don't need anymore, and the brown white wire connects to that wire, and then the horn should work, as I shall demonstrate in a second. Well, it would work if our horns weren't dead, because of the ones off that old car. I'll have to go and find the ones off Fab, wherever they are. Right. One of the things I've had to look at is the wiper linkage, which was broken. It was seized on this car and broken on Fab, right on the corner there. So I tried to like chemical metal a couple of washers on to make up a bracket. It didn't work. So I've drilled a hole in what's left of the bracket and those two washers, screwed the washers through the back there, and it's now holding that in place. So, you know, hopefully it works. I could do a new wiper linkage, but I don't have one, and I also need one for the GSI. Why you no work? One spot of fuse box fiddling later. Oh, it's just hitting the bonnet. That's alright. We have wipers. What? Hey! Now, I've just removed the front lights from the car because having a look at this front panel, it's quite scabby. We've got some surface rust there, so we need to deal with that. But also in my rummaging, I have found the wash wipe for the headlights. Now, I think this is from the scrap CD, because that one's really rotten. Fab's ones are somewhere in another box somewhere. Found the radio plug, which I couldn't find. Found a bonnet cable. Got a clean header tank with a sensor in it, a crank sensor in there and everything as well. So, yeah, that's a job for tomorrow night. I'm going to sand that down and paint it, and then drill the holes for the wash wipe, because it's already pre-wired for it, as you can see here. And where are you? Here, that's for the wash wipe. So if I plug that in, it should all work. Right, front panel, scabby. So bumper off, I'm going to sand this down, paint it, and also, well, before I paint it, I'm going to drill the holes in it for the headlight wash wipe. One primered grille, that can now dry off. Quick mock up to make sure my measurements are all right, which they are. This, well, I'll just nut and bolt that into there. There's a couple of little holes for it. There's a plug end from the car there, a plug there, so they're pre-wired for it. And a little plastic trim that fits on there, so that is going to work. I do need to find the set that came off Fab though, because these are off the scrap CD, the rusty one, and one of these is totally rotten, and I need the little grommet bits as well. Right, so I've continued with the fitting of our headlight washer assemblies, which bolt in place there. Got a little grommet in place for the pipe, and they're all pre-wired. We've got two plugs coming out here, the 2 pins for the fog lights, and the 3 pin is for headlight washers. Just been spraying a bit of contact cleaner in to there because these are a bit green inside of there, so we'll give these a clean out. The pins are a little bent as well. I'm going to straighten them up with a little screwdriver before I plug them in. I've been drilling the holes for the headlight wash wipe, and what I've been using is this little bit of Fab as a template, and I've just marked these and punched them so I can drill the holes now. And I've cleaned this up to bare metal anyway, had some rust heater on it, lovely stuff. First coat of primer applied. Beautiful! It's no bad stuff that, but it really doesn't go very far with those wee cans. First coat of diamond black going on now. Good news, I found the wipers and all the little bits and pieces for the headlights on Le Cavalier, which came from Fab, and I've got the little nozzle connectors here, but the holes I have drilled in there are slightly too small. I need a 12mm drill bit, I think, so I'm going to have to go and get one of them. So nice bit of hole sides there, taking the swarf off the edges, fired a bit of paint on there to protect it, and now I can install my water bottle. Right, good thing about these old Cavaliers, they're all pre-wired for everything, so I've got the top part of our washer bottle in there. This white plug wasn't originally used, but it's into the top of this little pump and diverter section there. This is the other plug, which is going to feed up through. I'm going to have to drill a hole in the inner wing there to bring the wires up from the lower pump down there. But that's all right. We've got our hoses running round there, and it's all set up and good to go. So I'm going to put it up in the air, wire the horn in, and wire the pump in. Although I think I'll need to get a new rubber grommet for it because the one for the bottom of the pump is knackered. Right, so continuing my installation of the headlight wash wipe, I need a 12mm drill bit to finish that. I've got my little plastic bits in there, but as you can see under here, the horns live on this frame here, which connects the larger water bottle in, which I've screwed in there, and we've got our washer pump there with the pipe running up into the engine bay. So I now need to go and feed the wiring plug for that back down through. And hopefully the horn is going to be alright. I've had to cut the connectors off this one because that's a pre-facelift horn. Right, back on with the last component of the headlight wash wipe. As you can see, I have got the fuse box out here, and living up the back there is a couple of other relays. There's a brown one which you can just see the bottom of there, and beside it is a blue relay base where this green one installs. And this green one is for the headlight wash wipe. Isn't it interesting that they deleted it from the cars, but they just kept the loom the same right to the end? So I need to make sure that I've got this the right way. One pin there, and then it goes another pin there, and another pin across the way sideways. Yes, I've got that the correct way up. So, a bit of wiggling, and I would say that that is now installed in there. Some good progress has been made. We go to the inside of the car. Carpets are in both sides, seats back in it. Got the horn to connect up there, rest of the dash plastics, put a stereo plug on it. But yeah, not bad at all. Been doing some filler work there where I had to join the sill, so I've been sanding that down. But grill hit with the first coat of diamond. Grill hit with the first coat of diamond black. Nice bit of high coat. Not bad for like 5 minutes prep work. Now, I've now moved on to something that's been annoying me, that the temperature readout on the dashes never worked. So I did a bit of continuity testing and found we've got a broken wire at the end of the plug there. So there's our wire there. So I'm just going to go and add a new section to it, and that should have that working. Right, grill is on. That's all I can do for tonight. You gotta wait for the rest of it to dry, but I have this, which is the outside temp sensor, and it just plugs in down here at the front. I've got no reading off it at the moment. Wires look to be okay, but we'll find out in a second. Yeah, he just pushes in there at the front. There we go. Right, let's see if we've got a temp. We don't have a temp readout, so that will mean that we have a broken wire. Although now actually I look at that, they don't look too healthy, so yes, we shall have to establish where these may have broken. Okay, fair enough. Le Cav has no temperature readout on the display because these wires are pretty much rotten. Thankfully I have a spare plug, so this should do the trick. As it turned out, there was 2 breaks in the wire for the outside temp sensor, so I'll need to go and seal those wires up again. But the good thing was, even though I had to take the headlight out, was that I noticed that there was a break in the headlight washer equipment, so it's just as well I noticed that. Let's go and post you through here, and hey, 15 degrees, spot on. Good. Right, I'm going to put the bloody headlight back in now, tape that connection up. But that's good progress there. Headlights all in with the seals in place. Headlight wipers all in, horn working, outside temperature sensor working. Yeah. Doesn't look too bad with those on it. Well, I've never actually emptied the boot out in Le Cav. And obviously with that aerial grommet completely being gone, it's been letting water in for a long time, so I've got this very mouldy carpet here which is going to have to come out. And well, hopefully the boot fan, I don't think it's rotten under the corners. We'll get a look just now, but so all this stuff piled up in the back of it for ages. Quite impressed that's WD-40 I've used in the bumper there, and it's darkened that up nicely if you look at the bottom bit. I like that as compared to that. Beautiful, solid boot floor. Remember, Fab had nothing left up in these corners. This is nice and solid in here. And it will be dry now thanks to our new aerial grommet right there. And I've given the carpet a quick scrub by a bit of G101 and a bit of odour eliminator there from Chrome. Obviously it needs a good blast of a scrubbing brush, but it's a lot better than it was. Hopefully get that mouldy smell out the boot as well. So I'll fire that back in. Obviously I'll have to get a 15-inch spare for it to ensure that if we get a puncture in the front we can just swap straight onto it because of those big brakes. But yeah, other than that, good to go. Just finished the sound deadening, got my contact lenses back in as well. Using a different type of insulation which turned up, which is this stuff. A bit thicker, a bit in smaller sheets, so just fired some of that in there, and that should effectively replace the soggy old minging stuff that was in there before. So I can put the front carpets in now. Woohoo! Well, I'm not going to lie, but that was tedious. But it is done. See how our Sony radio is going to connect up to this. Oh, we have movement. We don't have much battery. Yeah, I don't have an aerial. That switched on for a second, though. It made a noise. So I'll have to go and get an aerial doodah thing. We have radio. Tuner. That was pretty good timing, I've got to say. Right folks, electric aerial. That is not a bad effort. That is almost all the way up, it's just that very top bit that it hasn't managed to do. That's alright, we've got a good signal off of that. That's pretty amazing, that's the first time that's gone up and down in 15 years. Make sure it goes back down again. I didn't switch it off, did I? Make sure it goes off again. Nope. What button am I pressing? That should have gone back down. Nope. There it goes. That fully retracts and everything. Just in the process of replacing the hub bearing, and that's the new one. Old noisy one. There we go, one shiny new bearing installed. There we go, Le Cav is now wearing the Diplomat wheels because there is just no space between that caliper and the wheel if you've got balancing weights on, and of course this has got externals, so easiest thing I could think to do was I'll just take these wheels away with me on the Diplomat and get them balanced up. Yep. Somebody asked me how you fit an aerial grommet. There is an aerial grommet. You put it over the top of your aerial, you put it down there, and you like push it through into there, and it just pushes onto the wing, and that's it. You just need to ease it in carefully because it's got a ridge around it. You don't want to go and mark the paintwork, but it doesn't matter on this because it's a mess. That's WD-40 on it because I've been working on the aerial. Anyway, easy. I'm pretty pleased with that. Sound deadening stuff, it goes in really well, but I have identified a small hole at the bottom of the bulkhead, and there is a little hole in the passenger side floor, so I can't do that side yet, but I'm not doing any more welding tonight. I've got the Cadillac headlight to do, so I shall leave that for the moment and then come back to it in the next clip probably. So that's now cut out and cleaned from the underside, but you can see kind of how far under that the rust was starting to eat from that small initial hole there, so it was, you know, starting to rot out around there. And I cleaned it up carefully under here because I don't want to go too close to these brake pipes, although I could pop them out at the risk of breaking that bracket because they do go brittle. Right, so I can now go and drop it down and make a plate and weld it from the inside, and then I might come under here and weld it from the underside. Now, I may have mentioned before about the notorious water leak, and it will be caused, if you've got a Cavalier leaking water by a hole at the bulkhead there, sometimes they can get worse and rot right the way out here. But I've taken a load of silicone and seam sealer out of there with the air chisel, and I've got a hole there and a couple of other bits. Now, because of access, I'm just going to plate right over that and then seal it up again so it's all nice and snug, because I don't really have a cutting tool to get in there. I've cleaned that all up with a die grinder, but this piece of metal here is going to massively overlap everything that's there, and then we're just going to seal it up nice. So hopefully this is going to weld okay and it's not going to be like the consistency of paper. Well, that's us welded up in there now. Quite pleased at the way that went in overall. I wasn't sure how well it was going to weld. Now, we need to remember, if you're going to weld in that corner, there's a whole load of sound deadening right up the back of the dash at the back of that. So if you don't go up the back of the dash and pull it out, you know, just rip it out because it doesn't do anything anyway, then you will set it on fire. Which I didn't, by the way. Yeah, so now I just need to give that a good seal up with some seam sealer right the way along here and along that edge to replace all that. And we'll now have a nice waterproof seal in that corner again, which will be lovely. Hole in the floor welded up. Went in no problem. Never underestimate the desire of the underseal to go on fire. Got my little squirty bottle there because it did go up. It did catch light a couple of times and I couldn't blow it out. But yeah, done. On to the third bit. That's that all sealed up, primered and painted in there. All primered and painted in here. And all welded and primered and painted behind the pedals. Sorted. Can I crack on getting some more sound deadening into it now? Speedometer works. Brakes work. Juice on the windscreen. Righty, I'm working on the Cav's exhaust, sorting it out properly this time, rather than the temporary fix I had before. So I've got 15-degree bend, 15-degree bend. I've taken the cap pipe off and cut it at the flange, which is here. And we will put a straight connector over the end. That'll fit over there. And then what we're going to do is use a bit of this 2-inch pipe, which is the same size as the Sportex cap pipe, which is rotting out. This is my new tool, it's a chop saw. See how it works. Beautiful! Tacked into position the exhaust. It's all sitting, it comes down at a little bit of an angle there to go along that way, but that's the way that it needs to run. When it's right, that's the exhaust in. Bit of paste round there with a new gasket. Funny that bend in it there, that's the way that it wanted to sit though, to get it to line up there, I don't really know. They're all connected on up the back here as well, on the two mounts. So we'll see what it's like when it fires up, should be alright. It's all tightened in at the front now, mount. Right folks, we are changing the fuel sender on Le Cave. That's a replacement one there which has come out of this tank I collected from Workington, and we are currently letting the fuel drain out. I didn't know how much fuel was in it, and it looks like there was more than I thought, because I've already got a gallon out of that. And it's still going strong into the second one, so it'll be here for a while. But I just didn't know. My exhaust's looking alright, so that's good. We'll move this out the way. Come on, hurry up. I've removed the sender. 6 full cans and a half full bucket. So now I've got to go and install this again, pop it onto the pipe, and get the clip back on it, and we'll be ready to go. Got to say, Le Cave's driving mint now. I've done the wheel bearing, got rid of that howling noise. A really good feel from the steering. Of course, it's got new wishbones, new drop links, new track rod ends. The strut tops came off the fab, which were nearly new. And obviously it's got the Bilstein gas dampers and the IBAC springs on it. And we've got the Toyo tyres, which are borrowed off the Diplomat at the moment. But it's got a nice bit of give to the suspension. It's just spot on. It's firm but not harsh. And the Diplomat's got the cheap springs on it, which I need to remove. And this feels much better. It's got a tighter turn into it. Doesn't have a propensity to understeer as much. And the engine's starting to pick up now as well, with the ECU learning. And it does drive just pretty much exactly the same as Fab did. Right then, more work on Le Cave. We are doing the axle bushes because I think they are old and it's got a bit of play in it, because when it goes over a speed bump, the back tyre hits the arch, which you shouldn't do because it's only 195/60s. To complicate things, the bottom shock absorber bolt snapped off. So I've just welded a nut onto the end of it, which I think has done the trick. I think that's going to come out. What a dick. Yep, that's an annoying thing. There's a bolt there. Snapped right in two. That's a bit hot. Good, the weld will help that because it'll penetrate the bolt, so we'll have to dig out a replacement one of those for somewhere and then weld up the bracket again, which I had to go and bend out the way. Annoying. I think I will put grease on the threads of that before it goes back in. Not that done for a while. That's one side done. All you've got to do is take the bolt out the axle, drop it down. I've got it on the stand here to stop it hanging on the flexi, and then I'm going to get in about it with the air chisel and the reciprocating saw. I'll try and knock the centre out it, then cut through it with the saw, and then hopefully knock it out. It goes out that way. Fun and games. Air chisel. Let's see if we can get the middle out. Well, can't get it to move, so I'm now burning it out. This is completely safe. Well, that's been burning away for a while now. Don't do this, by the way. There's no smoke alarm in here. But that'll massively weaken the constitution of this bush. So it should push out. The other one I got a bit luckier with because it just shoved out. Let's wait for the fire to go out there, and then I'll just go and hit it again with the air chisel. Yay! And that's a middle bit out. Boom! And we're out. Whew! That was fun, not. No bush. Bit of WD-40, see if we can lube it up to get it in. We will need to use the puller what I just made, because this will not install of its own accord, I assume. Having said that, of course it won't. This is my puller, what I've done went and made. It's got an old fuel bearing on there and like a tensioner there to sit on that side, and then we've got an empty bit of wheel bearing there which will slide over that end and allow the bush to pull through, and I've got this old strut top as a washer on the end with the nuts. Quite impressed with that because it works. I will show you. I had a bit of trouble, but I got it in, and I wasn't videoing at the time because I just went for it, but you can see there, there's the bearing sort of used to shove everything together. That's it complete, so once I've whipped this off and out, we'll be able to see the bush pushed in. Hooray! Thank God. So, and the bush isn't all the way in yet. Wonderful. That last bit of bush pushing. And that. Should be on now. Still needs to run a wee bit.
Add up the two at the back,
Right.
divide it by 2 and that.
That gives you your reading. So we're zeroed at the front and add up the 2 at the back. So we're on 4 on that side and we're on 9 there now. That's it coming away down now on the scale. We're at 7 there now. And that's now going. And there you go, limit 0.35, actual value 0.4. 1200 and not 121. That's fucking mint, that. So it should be, because I've rebuilt it. But hey, what's the threshold for a cat test on that then? That's class, passed a cat test with a cat. I'm going to adjust that front bumper, it's not sitting right. Aye. Right folks, that'll do for now on Le Cav. It's on the road, it's racking up the miles, driving really well. I'm delighted with it overall. Got some cosmetics to sort out, a few other bits and pieces here and there, but it's pretty much as good as how Fab was now. So next time out with this, we'll be running it down to England, doing 1,000 miles in it, and coming up soon as well, I've got work on the Cadillac. I've replaced all the brakes on it. I've got to get it in for an MoT. I've got some ongoing stuff with the Saab's noisy belt, some stuff on the go with the Omega having a bit of a misfire. Plenty of stuff, so catch you soon. Bob. You know how you like to climb in the window when it's open?